What if I told you that scientists don't know what anything in essence is? The scientific physicalism paradigm on which mainstream thinking is based is incorrect. This is an introduction to a new scientific paradigm and philosophy that are correct. Internal Science and International Philosophy by William Eastwood are based on 30 books and 50 years of research. Internal science is so powerful that it renders the globe of the Earth you were first acquainted with in grammar school obsolete. Eastwood says that it is time for the primitive and barbarian myths we live by to go. Eastwood was 12 years old when he realized that his research and discoveries were so unique that they would require a new science and philosophy to contain them. But a year later, he was derailed before he could get started. This derailment was the allure of a spectacular and prestigious career in research and development. At age 13, William was invited to work with a Yale professor at a private research and development facility on a super-secret clandestine astrolabe-type invention. His research, alongside his environmental work, put him in the local newspaper. He was on his way to incredible success. William wasn't a privileged child. His school counselor, acting on his own, put him in contact with a Yale professor. The professor then offered William the position at his private research facility. William knew he was going to live a privileged life in academia if he continued on this track. But then he realized this path would prevent him from giving his full attention to his more substantial personal research. His greater mission was to create internal science and international philosophy to solve world problems and enable people to achieve their dreams and goals. However, bringing internal science and international philosophy to the world brought him into direct conflict with some of the most powerfully positioned people in government who tried to stop him. His science was perceived as a threat to established dogma and the powers that be. Yet, William prevailed because he used the very thing that scared his opponents to defeat them. Those secrets can and will finally be revealed in this video. The secret to defeating powerful opponents lies in a universal truth hidden within you. I want you to understand something very deeply, something so powerful that if truly accepted, it will change your entire life. Stop searching the outside world for what you want. Every success and desire is already fully realized within you. It is a vibrant reality playing right now. Feel this truth rise within you. Your worldview is the key to your success. When you see what William Eastwood saw at age 12, you may experience a paradigm shift too. William realized why science was blind to the true source of physical reality. This was because virtually all scientific research failed to penetrate the zero-point field (ZPF) barrier that separates the physical world from an inner world. William thought long and hard about this. And then he came up with a solution. He would conduct an experiment to penetrate the ZPF. Ultimately, he would see the source of the physical world. Scientists do not know the ultimate essence of the fundamental components of the universe. They do not know the essence of the quantum fields that constitute matter, electromagnetic energy, and the other forces. The consensus view, the standard model, states the universe is made of these separate components. However, this creates a major philosophical gap in physics. Scientists know how these things behave, described by math, but they do not know what they are in their ultimate intrinsic reality. This well-known discussion among physicists and philosophers is exactly what William Eastwood uncovered by conducting hundreds of scientific experiments over the course of a lifetime. Since physics, in its most successful form, only describes the behavior and interaction of these fundamental components, telling us what they do, but not what they are, we encounter the deep question: what is the ultimate intrinsic stuff of reality? This is what William Eastwood's experiments revealed. Eastwood looked beyond the math and symbols, the map to the reality the map depicted. Theoretical physicist Richard Feynman famously said, "I think I can safely say that nobody understands quantum mechanics." What Feynman was trying to say is that although we know the math perfectly, we do not know the underlying reality that the math describes. Our lack of understanding about the essence of matter and energy is where my search for truth begins. William Eastwood says, "Because I have penetrated beyond the zero-point field, I have observed more fundamental behaviors of consciousness forming the environment I entered. From thousands of observations, I was comfortable my conclusion that consciousness forms the universe is a sound one. As philosophers grappling with the most intriguing mystery of all have noted, if the ultimate components of reality are unknown, then the only thing we can be certain of is our conscious experience of them. We know what it is like to be conscious, a certainty that provides the ultimate fundamental starting point for all knowledge. But this is more than vague theoretical philosophy. This discovery isn't just about what the universe is. It's about what you can do with a new and much more accurate worldview to change your life for the better. Now that we know consciousness is fundamental, we can finally apply the true, universal laws of creation. That is what international philosophy does. It is a simple but powerful application of principles that translates easily into any language. I will now share the nature of William Eastwood's experiments with you. In William Eastwood's own words, "My research obtained through direct conscious probing of the universe is not a mathematical model but a direct experience of reality. I know intimately what the universe is like, and that knowledge confirms my conclusion. Consciousness is the architect. My research is my conscious experience, a unique form of knowledge that bypasses the limitations of measurement and math. Unlike the science of behavior, I have obtained the knowledge of being. I have directly observed consciousness as the universe's ultimate foundation." Internal science begins at the precise point where traditional science stops. If science had been able to go further, beyond the ZPF as I did, its understanding of reality would have expanded to include a non-physical source that creates physical reality. Its paradigm of reality would then be completely different than it is now. And so would mainstream thinking, because it is all based on the scientific understanding of reality. When I speak of the zero-point field ZPF, I am referring to the lowest possible energy state of space, the constant, frenetic quantum activity that physics measures even in a vacuum. It is the boundary of current scientific knowledge, and the threshold to a vast reality existing beyond time-space. My probing through and beyond the ZPF was the highlight of my early life. I will share that incredible experience with you shortly in this video. My experiments involved achieving a unique, calibrated state of conscious awareness that allowed me to pierce this boundary and access the fundamental reality beneath the quantum foam. What I observed there was not random energy, but a reality medium at least as intelligent as any human and able to form itself into events that appeared equal to and just as convincing as physical events. This medium is the clay-like substance that forms matter on a physical level by producing virtual particles and quantum foam. It replicates itself in physical structure and mass according to the directions we give it through our beliefs, thoughts, and emotions. The particles and fields that physics measures are merely surface structures, like ripples on a deep, infinite ocean. This observation provides the direct answer to physics' biggest mystery, the measurement problem. Quantum mechanics fails because the consciousness of the external observer is constantly interacting with this underlying conscious field. The famous particles of the Standard Model aren't fundamental. They are stable, repeating patterns of thought and intent within the foundational consciousness. This is the missing variable that quantum mechanics needed. The active, essential role of consciousness in defining physical reality. For centuries, physicalism, the idea that only matter is real, has reigned. Classic physics, agreeing with our five senses, suggests that specific points in time and space are fixed and unchanging. This view of reality as being fixed weakens our sense of power. We literally come to the conclusion that we have no direct line to creation and therefore no power to create our reality. Then came the quantum revolution, shattering this myth of fixity. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity showed us that time and space were not absolute, but relative. This foundational disclosure should have led to a complete revolution in thought. Yet the world's thinking hasn't fundamentally changed. We had put the pieces of the world together in the wrong way. We got the wake-up call, but we did not wake up. The internal crisis of science is visible at the highest levels. Max Planck, the father of quantum mechanics, stated unequivocally, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as a derivative from consciousness." This is not a philosophical aside. It is a fundamental conclusion drawn from physics. When a Nobel Prize winner declares that matter derives from consciousness, the entire edifice of physicalism collapses. This declaration alone should dismantle most accumulated knowledge in all fields, because mainstream thinking is physicalism. This profound revelation demands a philosophical pivot, yet society performed an intellectual U-turn. We simply cannot reconcile Planck's conclusion that the material world is contingent on consciousness with our everyday pursuit of material goals, absolute time, and rigid control. It was easier to tuck this discovery into a physics textbook than to let it destroy our economic and social systems built on the primacy of matter. We know the universe is fluid, relative, and probabilistic. Yet our institutions, our calendars, and our very language remain shackled to a 17th century Newtonian clockwork model of reality. Why? Because truly integrating quantum and relativistic truths demands an unsettling level of intellectual flexibility. It means giving up the comfort of absolute certainty, a price most people, and certainly most power structures, are unwilling to pay. Yet, while the rest of the world dug its heels in, I had already found my direction. When I was still a child, I reflected on Nikola Tesla's vision. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. But how could I study the non-physical when scientific instruments couldn't even register what was beyond the zero-point field? Tesla also famously said, "My brain is only a receiver." In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. He knew the core existed, but admitted he hadn't penetrated it. I realized that if science's tools were blind, I would have to use my own. I committed myself right then to find a way to penetrate that core of reality. And then, it hit me a genuine eureka moment. I realized I already knew exactly where the door to the universe was. The quantum secret. Probing reality's source. The universe's basic substructure is a vast sea of quantum fields, constantly manifesting virtual particles. These particles flash into existence right through the zero-point field, ZPF, threshold and exist for only a fraction of a second. Yet, in that brief existence, they interact in ways that collectively build our physical reality. The key realization here is this: these particles are not solid matter. They are merely waves of energy disturbances in fields. We call them particles only because that is the historical name we assigned to the smallest units that appear to form matter. Physicalism, the belief that only physical matter is real, was holding humanity back from accepting the true implications of Einstein's work and the revolutionary insights of quantum physicists. Why? Because scientific diagrams and math separate us from the underlying reality they attempt to depict. My search for the true nature of reality began with this understanding. I searched for a unique experiment, a way that would allow me to discover what was hiding within and beyond the symbols themselves, to finally reveal what lies on the other side of the zero-point field. At age 12, I spent a great deal of time contemplating what kind of experiment would allow consciousness itself to pass through that time-space boundary. Then, I had one of those aha moments. I devised a simple experiment. I would attempt to project my consciousness right through the zero-point field. When the time was right late one January night, staring out at the bitter cold and full moon through my bedroom window, I directed a core question to my subconscious. If consciousness is able to pass through time-space barriers, I need to know. I continued a script of questions and instructions to my subconscious as I began to fall asleep. That night I woke up, but I couldn't move my physical body. I was terrified initially, but it wasn't long before I was able to travel through an inner reality by using my consciousness, rather than my physical legs. I had successfully projected my consciousness through the barriers of time and space. I was on the other side of the ZPF, observing time-space without being physically engaged. You cannot imagine what this is like until you do it yourself. This unique research, conducted over 50 years, is what led to the creation of internal science and international philosophy. The existence of this inner reality is not merely my observation. It is strongly supported by scientific greats. Louis de Broglie first postulated the wave nature of electrons, leading to the concept of wave-particle duality, which told us that everything is simultaneously energy and matter. David Bohm, a direct colleague of Einstein, refined de Broglie's wave theory, creating the de Broglie-Bohm theory. This scientific paradigm strongly suggested the existence of an inner, unseen source he called the implicate order, which produces the physical, manifested world he called the explicate order. The implication of Bohm's work, which is now the foundation of internal science, is clear. You are not moving through linear time and space from birth to death. That linearity is merely the projection you are currently creating. This means you are not a three-dimensional self moving through a three-dimensional world. Your consciousness is infinite, indestructible, and multidimensional. Furthermore, researchers like Nobel laureate Dennis Gabor and neurosurgeon Carl Pribram provided additional evidence for this holographic nature of reality. They demonstrated that we don't actually see objects directly. The brain constructs an image by extracting holographic patterns directly from the underlying reality of the zero-point field. Your eyes and other senses then project that image out into space. You then perceive what you have projected. This is the holographic headset of your body and brain, allowing you to perceive the three-dimensional movie you call your life. The power of conscious creation. Consider this fundamental truth. If you do not see a bird flying behind you, it does not exist physically. Instead, there is a field of infinite probabilities. When you turn and look, you collapse one specific probability from that infinite range. You create the bird and then you see it. When you become aware of how you are actively collapsing and creating your reality, you can awaken from the trance of the official mainstream societal worldview. It is then that you can create a dream-come-true life in which you are surrounded by your every wish. This is not a small change. This is a new and superior stage in your life, much like the metamorphosis of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. The emerging new human is superior not in essence, but in his or her awareness and understanding of reality. The acceptance of this new science and its application results in the ability to manifest your goals and dreams, rather than remaining reactive to what only appears to be a static and separate reality. In the old paradigm, events happen to you. In the new paradigm, you create events. The new human is one who can move through life with ease and confidence, achieving goals in a way that those who remain stuck in the old paradigm simply cannot. Currently, additional videos, paperback books, ebooks, 500 free articles, and more resources are provided at earth-network.org and 5 other associated websites. Additional videos and audiobooks will soon follow that will guide you through the simple, precise steps you need to take to manifest any dream and goal of your own. This is Internal Science and International Philosophy by William Eastwood.